Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another video. It is the live game preview to our final Premier League fixture of the 2019-20 season. Everton play Bournemouth at Goodison Park on Sunday, finishing the season up against the side in 19th place who have to win this game in order to stay in the Premier League. And not only do they have to win the game, but they also have to rely on Aston Villa and Watford, who are also in and around that relegation zone, to lose both of their games. Otherwise, if they don't get the 3 points on Sunday, and if either of those two teams get even as much as a point, then Bournemouth are down. So I don't think it's going to be your typical final game of the season where, you know, two teams that have got nothing to fight for are just basically having a kick about for the sake of it before going on their holidays. I think this could be a little bit more of a competitive one. Obviously, we're here for the game preview. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about what has been a long season. Started obviously with Marco Silva when I thought all Blues were going into the season with, you know, a little bit of optimism, obviously. Marco Silva's first season in charge was a little bit roller coastery. I think I described it at the end of last season, where we had some really good moments and we had some really bad moments, but actually towards the back end of last season we finished quite strongly. We got wins against your likes of Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea's at Goodison Park. We held Liverpool to a draw at Goodison Park as well, and we had a really strong end to the season. 2-2 draw with Spurs on the last game of the season away from home, which was again another game that we probably should have won on another day. So we were coming into this season with a lot of optimism. Obviously a lot has happened throughout this season. Not only have we sacked Marco Silva, Duncan Ferguson took over for a brief period, which was fantastic to see as an Everton fan. I think really captivated Evertonians across the world and got us back on board at a time when we were really struggling. In fact, you know, there was certain conversations around that time that we could even have been in a potential relegation zone come this point in the season. Then obviously Carlo Ancelotti took over, which was again a whirlwind. You know, a manager who's won 3 Champions Leagues, has won 4 of the top 5 leagues in Europe, and just an absolute unbelievable manager all round. Came to Everton Football Club, and obviously we've had 6 months under Carlo Ancelotti and there has been significant improvement, but I think we're all looking forward to next season when Carlo can get his head down in the transfer window with Marcel Brands, bring a couple of his own players in, and really start to get, you know, get cracking next season. Because this season, or the last sort of 6 months or so under Carlo Ancelotti, or what would have been 3 months without the pandemic, I think it was just Carlo sort of getting a feel for the squad, trying to find out which players are good enough, which players aren't good enough, which players work in certain systems and which players don't, and I think the real big change will be going into next season. So like I said, not only have we had all of that happen, but we've also had a global pandemic that hit the Premier League halfway through it and took 3 months out. There was a suspension of football from March to June, so it has felt like the longest season ever, because it has been the longest season ever. But on top of that, it's been, again, another sort of roller coaster season for Evertonians, with a lot of emotion, highs, lows, and I think that always adds to the feeling that, you know, it's been a very long season. And this is the final game of the season, like I said, against Bournemouth at Goodison Park. I'm quite looking forward to this one, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it'll be your usual last game of the season. Listen, nothing's really riding on it for Everton Football Club. We can't finish in the top half of the Premier League now. I think the highest we can finish is 11th, the lowest we can finish is 12th, maybe 13th. So there's not much really that we have to fight for. There's not much really that's good, you know, that we have to turn up for. However, Bournemouth, on the other hand, like I said, they absolutely desperately need to win if they've got any aspiration of staying in the Premier League, and even that mightn't be enough. And I was sitting here thinking about this game before, and I thought, I wonder how Bournemouth will approach this game. Look, usually you would expect, and I fully expect the Bournemouth side to be coming and fighting for their lives and wanting to get the 3 points. Now, obviously, we've seen certain teams that are in and around that relegation zone in previous years who just sort of turn up and look defeated already. Bournemouth in the last few weeks have turned up at certain points and look like they've been beaten before the whistle's even been blown at the start of the match. So if Bournemouth turn up like that, I think, you know, Everton mightn't have to get out of second or third gear, and we might be able to breeze past them and get a win. But what I don't want is Bournemouth to turn up with a load of energy, a load of passion, a load of willingness, you know, a massive want to stay in the Premier League, and Everton turn turn up thinking, boss, 90 more minutes, and then we're on a beach with our flip-flops and us get embarrassed. Because we ideally, look, there's nothing riding on this game. It doesn't really matter, does it? Let's be honest, it's the final game of the season. The season's gone on for about 600 years. So the restart's been okay. We've had 2 defeats that we probably should have done an awful lot better in. Certainly that Tottenham game. We've had some good wins against Leicester and Sheffield United as well. It's been alright, but I think a lot of us, if not all of us, are just sort of looking forward to the transfer window now and the start of next season. So there's not much riding on it for Evertonians. But that doesn't mean we don't want to win this game on Sunday. That doesn't mean that these players shouldn't want to win the game, and that doesn't mean that Carlo Ancelotti doesn't want to win the game. Carlo Ancelotti was very, very vocal, even when it became quite apparent that we weren't going to finish in a European place. After the loss to Tottenham and the draw to Southampton, it became quite apparent that we weren't going to, be in that fight. Carlo still changed the side around. He still come out and said, oh, it's not good enough and how we need to improve. So there was no sort of feeling of, yeah, well, whatever, we're just getting through the last few games from Carlo Ancelotti. There seemed to be that sort of feeling on the pitch by the players. Obviously, the Sheffield United game was a massive, massive improvement, and it actually looked like they turned up and they wanted to win in a game that, again, okay, Sheffield United weren't great and they weren't at the races, but I don't think any of us really predicted Everton to play that well. So I think we should turn up and do the exact same on Sunday. Turn up, play as well as we can and get the win, because ultimately, yes, it's not the end of the world if we lose, and people will probably go, whatever, we've lost, yeah, shit, but we all know we need players in the transfer window, move on. But we want to finish, we want to finish the season on a high. We want to finish the season on a positive, and if we can finish the season on 2 wins, I think that'll be fantastic for the football club. I really, really do. The Premier League did announce today that the 2020 to 21 season will run from the 12th of September 2020 until the 23rd of May 2021. So there's not a long pre-season whatsoever. If you think about it in regular terms, a Premier League season usually finishes mid-May and starts up again in the sort of first couple of weeks of August. This one is finishing, mid to end of July and starting, in the mid of September. So we're missing a month. So it's going to be around about a 6 or 7 week pre-season, I think, which is quite significantly lower than what it usually is. We all knew it was going to be a quick turnaround, judging by the fact that the season is due to finish in May as well. Suggests that, again, there's going to be more, situations where we're playing multiple games in 1 week, maybe even 3 games a week at certain points, because there's, we're losing out on that month. So there's not a quick turnover in the summer, and it's important that we sort of try and carry some momentum into next season, and this is a great chance to do it. Obviously, coming off the back of a very, very good win against Sheffield United the other day, and hopefully we can come out and get a decent win against Bournemouth. Like we said, we don't have to say much about them. They've had a dreadful season. They've had an absolutely dreadful season. 19th in the Premier League, 31 points, like I mentioned before. They need a win, and they need to hope that Aston Villa and Watford, probably more Aston Villa, because they're on a similar goal difference, lose their game and lose it by at least a couple of goals. If Aston Villa or Watford even manage to get a point, then Bournemouth are down, even if they beat us 6 or 7-0. But again, we shouldn't be focusing too much on that. We should be focusing on how we can finish the season positively. So I'm going to go into my predicted starting 11. No point in sitting round and dilly-dallying. We'll dive straight into it, and then we'll talk further about the game. So as you can see, it's to the left-hand side of me there. I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Now again, I was humming and hawing about whether or not I should put Jordan Pickford in goal, partly because obviously Martin Stecklenberg's leaving at the end of this season. Sunday will be his last chance to play in an Everton shirt, and then I thought, well, okay, he's had a number of appearances for Everton, and he's had a couple of really good games. The game against Manchester City being the noticeable one. But has he really, is he an Everton legend? Does he deserve one last final, hurrah? Yeah, if he played, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'd say fair enough. He's done well. He's been a good servant for the 2 or 3 years that he's been here. Shake his hand and say cheers, see you later. But I just think I don't think Carlo Ancelotti is really a man for that sort of sentiment. I think Leighton Baines will start this game, and we'll talk about him in a second, but I don't think he's just going to go full on sentimental and just throw Stecklenberg in there as well. I think Carlo Ancelotti will want to go out and win this game, because he knows the importance of finishing the season positively and carrying that momentum in. Certainly when we're going to have a short, snappy pre-season, these lads are only going to get a couple of weeks, probably 2, maybe 3 weeks at most on holiday. Then they'll be back at Finch Farm. There'll be new signings coming in. There'll be preparations for the next season, and then the next season starts in September. And if you think about it, that's at what less than 2 months since, from the end of this season to the start of next season. From the lockdown was 3 months, so they hadn't played in that period of time. So it's going to be very, very quick. It's going to be a very, very quick turnover. And, like I said, Carlo Ancelotti will want to finish the season positively. So I've gone for Jordan Pickford in goal. Never done anything wrong, did he really, last week against Sheffield United? I understand that some people are saying, "I'll give João Virginia a go because there's nothing riding on the game," or give, Stecklenberg a go. There's nothing riding on the game from an Everton point of view. There is from a Bournemouth point of view, if they desperately want it. From what I've seen from Bournemouth, I wouldn't be surprised if they turned up and just went, whatever, we're not arsed. But again, we have to expect them to turn up and want to win, because it's a big chance for them. And their future at the moment lies in the hands of other clubs. But if they don't get any points on Sunday, then they're definitely not staying up. Bournemouth strike me as a sort of team that, a little bit like a Sunderland, where if they go down, they're going to massively struggle to come back up again, which obviously isn't ideal for them. I've gone for the back four then of Leighton Baines at left back, Michael Keane and Jared Branthwaite in centre backs, and then Seamus Coleman at right back. We'll go on to talk about Leighton Baines in a second. We'll talk about the rest of them first. Seamus Coleman again obviously didn't start the last game against Sheffield United. Jabril Sidibe came in. Thought Jabril Sidibe done well. Didn't have an awful lot to do, but in not having an awful lot to do, he didn't do an awful lot wrong. Broke forward a couple of times. He found his usual sort of pass through the middle of the park and breaking down the wing and not really getting to a wide position and crossing it in, but more playing it through the middle and playing the likes of Gylfi Sigurdsson and Andre Gomes into the squad. I should point out, by the way, before I go any further into talking about this starting 11, that I have used the 4-2-3-1 formation that Carlo Ancelotti used against Sheffield United a couple of days ago. We spoke about the formation today in his pre-game press conference, and he spoke about how it allowed us to get Gylfi Sigurdsson into the game a little bit, but he also spoke about it's important to, whatever the formation be, whether it be 4-5-1, whether it be 4-2-3-1, whether it be 4-4-2, we have to execute a very similar game plan, which is ultimately to hit teams on the break, to play in good passages and to win games of football. But I do think he'll go with the same formation again, because I think he'll have looked at that game on Monday night and thought, these lads are much more prepared to this formation and they play an awful lot better in it. So it would be very, I'm not saying it'd be silly, but it'd be disappointing, if he changed it back to the 4-4-2 and then again we reverted back to the performances that we saw against Aston Villa and Southampton, etc., where we just got played off the park. So I think he will go with the 4-2-3-1 again, just to save ways. So I've gone for Seamus Coleman at right back. Like I said, Jabril Sidibe didn't do much wrong against Sheffield United. They had a good game. However, I think Seamus will probably be more fitted to this game. Defensively, I think he's a lot better. I think if Bournemouth are going to get any joy, it will be through those wings. It will be trying to break forward and hit us on the break. So I think for me, it's important to have a defender in there, a full-back in there, that not only, can play a decent pass and get forward, which we haven't seen an awful lot from Seamus, to be fair, but also can defend, and I think Seamus is the better defender. I also think that Jabril Sidibe won't be signing for the football club. I think Everton's ideal situation would be he signs another loan deal. However, I don't think Monaco want that, and I don't really see us signing him on a permanent. Certainly, if anything is to be believed, if we put it this way, if we were going to sign Jabril Sidibe on a permanent deal, I think it would have been plastered all over the news by now and all over local sources, and I think we'd pretty much know that deal was done. That's just my opinion anyway. Going into the centre-backs then, Michael Keane and Jared Branthwaite again. There's not much options here because Yerry Mina is still out injured, Mason Holgate is still out injured. Carlo Ancelotti confirmed today that everybody is fit except Fabian Delph, Yerry Mina and Mason Holgate, which we already knew anyway. But there doesn't need to be many options. Even if there was options, I'd probably still go for these two. Now, granted, if Mason Holgate was fit, he would be in this team 100%, whether it be a centre-back or whether it be at centre midfield. But I think how well Jared Branthwaite and Michael Keane have been playing over the last couple of games, they've been absolutely fantastic. Both stepped in. Jared Branthwaite for his first Premier League start against Sheffield United a couple of days ago, 18 years of age, and again, he looked like a seasoned pro. He looked like he'd been playing Premier League football for absolute years. He just sat in and he was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. Everything that come to him, he got it out, he dealt with in the air, he was a big physical presence on the ball, he was good. It took him about 10 or 15 minutes to for his passing to get up to scratch, but once it did, I don't think he misplaced a pass after that. Again, not scared, not worried about attackers clattering into him, not worried about getting beaten. He was just strong, assured, confident, and it was a fantastic performance by him. Likewise with Michael Keane, got ripped by for giving Michael Keane a little bit of a lower score than usual on the player ratings to the Sheffield United game, but I think I've just set my bar so high for Michael Keane. Now, he's probably been, and I know Luca Dean is in that conversation, and I know that Richarlison may be in it and Mason Holgate, but I think, considering what, the inconsistencies around Michael Keane, I think he's been our best player since the lockdown. I really, really do. Now, Luca Dean's been very consistent as well, but like I said, we're used to seeing Luca Dean be very, very consistent. Last season, he was absolutely unbelievable. This season, again, it's been tough for him, but he's still been very consistent for most of the season. But Michael Keane, since the restart of the Premier League, has been absolutely unbelievable. I don't think he's put in one bad performance. Obviously, he scored the own goal against Spurs, but it was nowhere near his fault. He was just trying to get back into playing. It sort of hit him. Scored the winner against Norwich, and he's been genuinely fantastic in near enough every game. Everything that's come into him, he's dealt with fantastically. He's got it out. He's worked next to Mason Holgate. He's worked next to Yerry Mina. He's worked next to Jared Brantwaite, and he's looked comfortable in near enough every game, and he's looked very, very solid. So again, like I said, there's not many options for centre-back, but I think even if there was these two, you'd struggle to find a reason to take either of these two out of the team, considering how well he played over the last couple of games. Certainly Jared Brantwaite when he was asked to come on against Aston Villa. If you're enjoying the team, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Going on to left back then, Leighton Baines. Listen, I don't want to tear up on this live stream. I don't want to tear up, and I'm not going to tear up. I'm just exaggerating my emotion, but to even think that this could be the last time that Leighton Baines puts on an Everton shirt, it physically makes me feel sick. It really, really does, because I just don't know if I'm ready to see Leighton Baines leave the football club. And I'm all about, not being sentimental and not only keeping players on because of their history or because of how well they've been in previous seasons. I'm all about that. Listen, if you've had a fantastic career at Everton but you're not up to scratch, then you have to shake hands and you have to say goodbye, like we did with Phil Jagielka a couple of years ago, last season, and like we did, with various players over the years. We've done it with Tim Cahill when it was time. But I just don't think I'm ready to see Leighton Baines leave the football club. I really, really don't think I'm ready to see Leighton Baines leave the football club. And a big part of that is because I still think he has something to offer. I still think Leighton Baines can be a fantastic backup left back who can come on in 5 or 10 games a season, or even start 5 or 10 games a season in the cup games and be more than good enough than most backup left backs in the Premier League. If not, he'd probably be the best backup left back in the Premier League, considering his experience, his quality. On the ball, Leighton Baines is still one of the best players at Everton Football Club. Don't get it twisted. On the ball, he is still absolutely fantastic. He proved that 6 months ago in December, just after Duncan Ferguson had took charge when we played against Leicester in the cup, and he rocketed one from 25-30 yards right into the top corner. Technically, he is still absolutely unbelievable. Yes, the energy and the fitness and the getting up and down lets him down a little bit because of how how accustomed we come to in the 2013-14 season, and when he was really in his prime, when he was getting up and down consistently, he was throwing crosses in, he was scoring goals near enough every other week. He was unbelievable, and yes, he's lost his legs a little bit. Does that mean it's now time to be non-sentimental and go, right, okay, you go? No, because like I said, I think whereas with Phil Jagielka, there was an argument to say, right, okay, and this is the argument was probably voided when we realised we needed another centre-half, but there was an argument to say, you're probably not going to get much game time this season, and there's probably 2 or 3 other players ahead of you that will get. So it'd have to take a massive injury crisis at centre half for you to get a game. Leighton Baines, it only takes one knock to Luca Dean and he's in there, and it only takes one knock to Luca Dean in the first couple of weeks of the season, and touch wood that this doesn't happen, but it's not totally against the realms of possibility. And for Luca Dean to be out for 2 or 3 months, let's just say in worst case scenario, Leighton Baines would be playing every single week for all of those 2 or 3 months. Leighton Baines come back into the squad before the lockdown and he looked fantastic. He put in a better performance than Luca Dean was doing at the time. I just don't think that it would be the right decision for Leighton Baines to leave the football club at the moment from the football club, because I still think he's got an awful lot to offer, and I still think he's got the quality that we could desperately do with. Again, the club have put the contract of the club very in front of him, so the club very, very clearly, sort of understand that he is definitely needed in the squad, and that it's not a case of, right, okay, you can go because you're not good enough. It's a case of, we still need you. it's massively worrying that he hasn't already signed the contract, because for me, listen, the way I looked at it coming into the last few games of the season is I think that Leighton Baines was sort of looking at this thinking, right, okay, I'll sign the sort of mini extension that takes me to the end of the season, but I want to see how involved I am. In the last final 9 games of the season, when we're playing games every other day near enough, I want to see how involved I am. I want to see if I get one game, or if I'm playing near enough every other game, or if I'm at least featured in every other game. And obviously, you know, it hasn't quite gone to plan in that way, if that is the case. He's only started one Premier League game. I think he's come off the bench maybe once or twice, and the rest of it Luca Dean's played, and Luca Dean's been fantastic, don't get me wrong, very, very consistent. But I think Leighton Baines might have looked at that and gone, do I really want to stay on to just sit on the bench? I don't know, and I'll give you these final 9 games and let's see what happens. And obviously it hasn't gone well. The fact that he hasn't signed the contract and we're coming to the final game of the season on Sunday is massively worrying, and unfortunately does make me think that he won't sign it. But like I said, he has to start this game. He has to start. He has to give him the captain's armband. Love Luca Dean. Think he's been fantastic, and I'm all with Carlo Ancelotti going with a competitive 11 and the best team to go out there and win the game of football. But in this case, I think I'm not willing to see Everton go out and say, right, okay, well, you know, Leighton Baines isn't going to play, and then Leighton Baines turn around and say, right, I'm leaving. And the last time we seen him play was whenever it was, you know, a couple of weeks ago against, was it Tottenham? And, you know, last time we seen him have a really, really good game, and that appreciation was probably in December against against Leicester. I want Leighton Baines to go out, and I know there's no fans in the stadium, which is disappointing, because if this is his final season and he does leave, it's going to kill all of us, isn't it, to have not been there to give him that send off that he deserves. You know, 11 years at the football club, at the 2013-14 season, like I mentioned before, in my opinion, best left back in the world, not the league, not Europe, best left back in the world at that point. Turned down Manchester United, links to Bayern Munich, links to all of these top European sides where he could have gone easily, won trophies, had an easy career, probably earned an awful lot more money. But no, he said, no, I'm staying to Everton, I'm loyal to Everton, and I want to play for Everton Football Club. And he's given us his entire career, not only his best years, his entire career. And it is going to be absolutely devastatingly horrible if he does leave at the end of this season, and you know, ultimately we don't get to give him the send off he deserves at Goodison Park. But if that is going to be the case, he at least deserves to start this game and for me, play the 90 minutes. If you want to play Luca Dean as well, put him a little bit further ahead of Leighton Baines, or put Leighton Baines in the midfield or left midfield, whatever you want to do. But for me, Leighton Baines has to start this game. He just has to. And if he does sign the contract, and if they do come out and they say the contract's been signed for weeks, but we just will wait until the end of the season to announce it, then it's not like Leighton Baines has got one leg and he's not going to have a decent game, is he? He'll probably have a good solid game, and then you go, brilliant, he signed the contract, fantastic. You know, it's not like we're just putting him out there to flog a dead horse and be like, oh yeah, it's his last game, but you know, he's probably going to be shit. He's not. He'll be fantastic. He'll be absolutely fantastic. So for me, Leighton Baines has to start this game. He really, really does. We'll get into the live comments now. We'll fly through the rest of the team, and then we will dive into the live comments. Let me know your thoughts on the Leighton Baines situation. Do you think he'll stay for another season? Do you think he'll sign? If not, surely we're all in agreement. If you turn around now and said Leighton Baines leaves at the end of the season, surely we're all in agreement that he has to start on Sunday. If you're enjoying the live stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel as well, don't forget to subscribe. The support on the channel has been absolutely unbelievable, so a massive thank you to each and every one of you. Like I said, going with the typical 4-2-3-1 formation then that I mentioned. I've gone for Andre Gomes and Tom Davies in the centre of the midfield with Alex Iwobi in front of them. Pretty self-explanatory for the two defensive sort of midfielders. I thought they both played, well. I thought Andre Gomes had a fantastic game against Sheffield United on Monday night. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, and if we're playing this formation, I think he definitely deserves to start again. Tom Davies next to him again on the ball. He wasn't brilliant. His passing at times wasn't brilliant, but he worked hard, he ran around, he got himself involved, and ultimately, is there any other option? No. So Tom Davies is in there. Put Alex Iwobi in front of them just because I want, if we do play with this formation and we play the number 10 role, again, Gylfi Sigurdsson done okay the other day, but he didn't blow anybody's skirt up, did he? He didn't have the most, the best game of football you've ever seen. He didn't impact the game massively, and I'd just like to see Alex Iwobi playing this number 10. Otherwise, if he doesn't and he can't play in that position, then why did we sign him? Why did we ever bother paying that much money on a player if he can't play in his preferred position? So if we do play with that number 10 role, Again, look, Gylfi Sigurdsson had an okay game the other day, but I don't really see the point in putting him in there for him to have another okay game. Put Alex Iwobi in there and let's see what Alex Iwobi can do in that role. Because if he can't do much, then we probably should be looking at selling him in the summer. If he has a fantastic game, then we know, right, okay, that's his preferred position. That's where he should be playing. Can he play in other positions? And then we work out from there. But like I said, if we do play this formation, I'd just like to see Alex Iwobi be given a go in the centre of midfield. He hasn't had a fantastic season. He's massively struggled. He's had a couple of good games. He's been massively inconsistent. But again, like I said, if we're going to play with the number 10, Gylfi Sigurdsson didn't have a well-beater game, did he, the other day? He played okay, so throw Alex Iwobi in there. Let's see what he can do. Onto the front three, then I've gone for Anthony Gordon on the left, Richarlison on the right, and Moise Keane up front. Again, wingers, pretty self-explanatory. Anthony Gordon obviously not starting the game against Sheffield United on Monday night. Theo Walcott being in there. Feel a little bit sorry for leaving Theo Walcott out, but I just think, yeah, you know, you had a good game, but you're probably going to be here next season anyway, so it doesn't really matter much. I think Anthony Gordon deserves to start again. It'll be nice to see what he can do against the team that are really, really struggling, and ultimately against the team that he should be tearing it up against. Richarlison on the other side, obviously, absolutely world-class footballer. 2 years to the day since Richarlison signed. He signed the 24th of July 2018, so again, you know, absolutely fantastic 2 years for him. Played on the wing the other night, done really well. I thought definitely in the second half, struggled a little bit in the first half, but done really well in the second half. Scored that winning goal ultimately. And yeah, I'd put him on the other side with Gordon, and then Moise Keane up front. I think Moise Keane was a nailed on starter for the game against Sheffield United, but he picked up an injury in training beforehand. I put out a little tweet saying about 5 minutes before the team news, saying about how we need to get behind him and how it'll be fantastic to see him start, and then it come out and he wasn't even in the team news. And I think some people at that time thought he'd just been dropped, but he hadn't. He picked up an injury. Carlo Ancelotti has confirmed that everybody is fit other than the three players that we mentioned before, so I fully expect Moise Keane to be given this game. I think it'd be nice for Dom to be given a little bit of a rest. Again, maybe come on towards the back end of it to impact the game, or to add a little bit of physicality, but you know, Dom's played an awful lot of football over the last 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I don't think a rest would you know, be the worst thing for him. Plus, it'd be a good opportunity to give Moise Keane a chance, and you know, let's see what he can give to the team. So anyway, that's my predicted starting 11. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. Give me yours as well if you disagree with it. We'll fly into the live comments now. Bobby says we need a new goalkeeper. Well, interesting you should say that. According to ESPN, today Everton and Leeds are both interested in Manchester United backup goalkeeper, or Manchester United second in command Sergio Romero. Now, I actually really like Sergio Romero. I think he'd be a fantastic signing for Everton. He'd be definitely a player that would be coming in wanting to play every single week. He wouldn't be coming in wanting to sit on the bench. And he would give Jordan Pickford that boost up the arse that's needed, because he is a really good goalkeeper. Whether or not we'd sign him, I don't know. He'd probably cost us ridiculous amounts of money. And if I was a Manchester United fan, I'd be looking at starting Sergio Romero next season, or Dean Henderson, because I think that De Gea is an absolute fraud. I don't even think he's in the top 10 best goalkeepers on the planet. But there's the rumour. Shabba says, welcome back, Cam. Can't wait to get rid of this season. Thank you very much, and thanks for joining us. Yeah, listen, it'll be nice to see the back of it. Again, it's been another wishy-washy. Nothing much has really happened, and ultimately it's a disappointment season. But this is the most excited I think it's fair to say that a lot of us will be feeling going into a new season, certainly with the manager that's taken us into it. Face says, hi Cam, hi. Facebook channel says, hey Cam, won't be able to watch you live, watch later. No worries mate, thanks for getting involved. Lavid says, hey Cam, sorry it's not football, but can I post a link from blood cancer in relation to the government forcing blood cancer patients to choose between income and health players need to show? Yeah, 100% mate, drop it in, and once you've dropped it in, I'll tell people to go over and have a little read of it. Really important that, you know, we read these sort of things and you know, we actually read the truth and not what the spiel that we're being fed by the people in Parliament. So yeah, drop it in and I'll, if it comes up as a review comment, I'll allow it, but it shouldn't do. Sport says, Almiron Miguel, would you sign him to Everton? No. I just don't think he's consistent enough. I think he's a good player on his day, but I don't think he has his day anywhere near enough. Vidal says players need to show pride. They do. Michael says, lad, where's the new season swag? Ha, hope you're well. I've got the new shirt. I'm sure you're seeing the new training gear in the instant match reaction and player ratings to the Sheffield United game. I've hung it up. I'll be wearing it again on Sunday for the final game of the season. I have got the new shirt. It's hanging up there, but it's absolutely boiling in my room. It's about 7 billion degrees, and I thought if I put that on, I'm just going to profusely sweat and then have to wash it, and then I won't be able to wear it either at the weekend or on Sunday. So I've got them hung up, but I thought I'll get me wear out of this away one, probably, given the fact that we won't be wearing it again. Jeff says, alright everyone, alright Jeff. If you're enjoying, by the way, please do hit that like button. Lavid says, their places are on the line. They need to inspire the fans. You're absolutely spot on, mate. Jeff says, Richarlison has set himself a target of 20 goals next season. Carlo just said, that isn't good enough and wants 30 minimum standards. Well, listen, I think Richarlison has proven today, again, he's been at the club 2 years, and it's a big thing for us as fans to appreciate, but it's not the biggest thing. But he come out and he said about how proud he is to wear that blue shirt and how amazing, the fans are in the club. I just love him. I absolutely love him. I try not to get emotionally connected with football players in this day and age, certainly considering the amount of heartbreaks we've had over the years, whether it be Wayne Rooney, whether it be Mikel Arteta, whether it be Ross Barkley, certainly the amount of players that Evertonians have grown to love and then they've let us down. But I just can't help but love Richarlison. I absolutely love him. I hope that lad never, ever, ever leaves this football club. I think not only is he a fantastic, like I said before, I honestly believe he's a world-class player, but he's also an unbelievable professional, a really mature young man, and a fantastic, Jeff said it, Jeff mentioned it on Twitter to me today, a fantastic role model for this football club and representative, and I just love him. I absolutely love him. Ladvid says the club need to build defence around Holgate. We need a new captain. Who would you want as captain next season? Who are the ones as captain next season? I'd probably give it to Mason Holgate, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I probably would give it to Mason Holgate. Again, I don't think Seamus Coleman's got... It will be Seamus Coleman, because I don't think Carlo Ancelotti's just going to come in and go, right, Seamus, you're not good enough, you're not captain, because I think that just gives it a bad report in the dressing room and just adds negativity when it's not needed. So I think it will be Seamus Coleman, but personally I'd probably give it to Mason. Wimmy says, hi guys, how's everybody doing? Probably with Bournemouth, they are sad. I'm not too bad, mate. Everton TV, Everton Fan says hello, he needs to give Keane a start. I agree. Sam says I'd start Sims, to be honest, just to get him some game time. I'd like to see Sims involved. I don't think he'll start, but I would like to see him involved. Maybe coming off the bench in the last 15 or something, see what he can do. Reece says, anyone been looking into the Jeffrey Epstein case out of context? Like, I haven't watched the documentary yet. I'll try and catch the documentary. But I know he's a horrible. I don't even want to use the word I'm going to use, because I'll probably get my channel taken down. Where are we then? Evertonian TV says maybe start Sims and Keane, possibly. Potentially if we play the 4-4-2. I don't think Ellis Sims will start. I'd like to see him, but I don't think he'll start. Carl says hello. Team should be Pickford, Sidibe, Keane, Branthwaite, Baines, Gomez, Davis, Gilfie, Richie, DCL and Gordon. Fair enough. Jeff says it's not sentiment. We need Baines, and Nkunku isn't ready, and Dean can't play every game. Spot on. Carl says I think I'm the only fan who wants Gilfie to stay. If we play in a 4-4-2 next season, I think it'd be more beneficial to sell him, mate, to be perfectly honest with you, because he can't play in that formation. He just can't. If we were to play in the 4-2-3-1 every week, which we won't, maybe, but I just don't think he's got a future at the football club. Cass says a number 10 is untouchable, but he hasn't got the legs to box-to-box style. Exactly, and it's whether we'll play in any other formation, and if we'll play in a formation that offers support for a number 10, I don't think we will. Mac and Cheese says, alright lad, I think we should go for that Jamal Lewis from Norwich. Not the best fullback, but he's got a lot to his game and could be cheap. Great backup for Dean and could play in the cup games. Yeah, I really like him. Good player. Very, very good player. Again, he probably cost us a fair bit, but I'd go for him as well. I would. I think he's a really good player. Anyway, getting back into the game then before we go back into the live comments. Like I said, listen, it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. Bournemouth are coming at us ultimately with a do or die sort of attitude. They have to win this game of football. If they don't win this game of football, they are down. And I honestly believe, and again, I don't know if I'm the only fan that believes this, but watching Bournemouth this season and watching them even in times of need over the last couple of weeks, I honestly do think if they go down, we will not see Bournemouth back in the Premier League for years and years and years to come, because I just don't think that they're that type of team to bounce back up. Can I see them turning up being defeated already? Yeah, and that's no disrespect to them. That's just based off, performances I've seen recently. But can I see them turning up with, 100% energy, 100% passion, wanting to win the game, yeah. And the last thing I want is them to turn up like that and Everton to turn up with all flip-flops on and not really interested and be beaten. Because that, it won't be the end of the world if we lose, but you want to end the season on a high. You want to end the season positively. You want to come out of it going, yeah, you know what? Okay, we might have had a poor result against Tottenham and Wolves, and we should have probably done better against Southampton and Villa, but good result against Leicester, good result against Norwich, good result against Liverpool, good result against Sheffield United, and a good result against Bournemouth. That's 5 games out of the 9 that we've done quite well in. So we'll take that. And then obviously, like I said, very, very quick turnover. We go into next season with all of that positivity. It's not going to be a typical final game of the season. I don't think where, you see 2 teams just basically having a training session because they can't wait to go on holiday. I think there's going to be a little bit more to it. And ultimately, we need to go out there and stamp our foot. And I honestly do believe Carlo Ancelotti will have these players ready to do that again. If Everton were going to sit back and be nonchalant and be feet in the air, and Carlo Ancelotti was sort of accepting that type of performance, I don't think we'd have turned up and put the performance that we did in on Monday against Sheffield United. Don't get me wrong, they weren't brilliant, but we turned up and we were a lot better than we have been, and Carlo Ancelotti come out and said, that's the type of performance we expect to see. So I don't believe that we'll go into Sunday with the blasé sort of, just do what you want sort of energy. I think Carlo Ancelotti will have these lads going in saying, win this game. You need to win this game. And hopefully we see the likes of Moise Kean be given a start. If he does play the 4-2-3-1, I wouldn't mind seeing Alex Iwobi in there just to see what he can do. Hopefully we see Anthony Gordon again, because I think it'd be really, really interesting to see Gordon come up against the side that ultimately he should be ripping to pieces, and he should be, at least impacting the game. Obviously he done quite well when he come on against Sheffield United, broke through a couple of decent moves and ended up getting into a really good position where he ultimately should have shot and probably would have scored. Like I mentioned, Leighton Baines for me has to start. He just has to start this game of football. So again, it's the final game of the season. It's been a tough, long, horrible, gritty season at times. It's ended ultimately, again, not in the best way possible. It will end in a very, very good way if we win. But ultimately, again, we probably should have done better against Wolves. We definitely should have done better against Spurs, Southampton and Villa. But we're going into next season with one of the, if not the best managers in world football. And he has got his own transfer window. He's going to bring his own players in. He's going to adopt his own formation, his own tactics. And I am massively, massively looking forward to next season. I really, really am. Again, like I said, I think this is the most confident that a lot of Evertonians, including myself, will be going into a new season, purely because of the manager that we have and of the players that he can bring into this football club. And again, like I said, it's been a difficult one, but it all ends on Sunday, and let's hope it can end in a win. Let's get back into the live comments then before we ultimately finish up the stream. Where are we? Frankie says this guy is a legend. I don't know who you're talking about there. You're talking about me or Leighton Baines? Hopefully you're talking about Leighton Baines, because he is a legend. Abigail says, I've seen linked with Rakitic and Arturo Vidal in his final year of his contract. Are they both good players? They are both good players. Would I take them? I don't know. Both players that are obviously, aging a little bit, would come in on a lot of money a week. I just don't know. Again, Barcelona rejects, and I just don't know if Everton should be settling for that at the moment. I don't know if they're the type of players that we need. And I know you could say, Gomez and Dean were Barcelona rejects, and I know being a Barcelona reject isn't always the worst thing on the planet. But I'd just like to see us go out and sign some players that other big clubs want, that other big clubs are touting, and go, you know what, no, we'll sign him. Like Leicester done with James Maddison, like various clubs have done. Go out and go, well, we'll snap you up before United or Tottenham look at you. Faye says, Dean, best player in my opinion. He has been very, very good. He has. Jeff says, no need for the kisses, Wormy, and then gives a kiss. Carl says, for me, Baines is my favourite Everton player ever, along with Coleman. He is the best left-back I've ever watched. Even now he gets into most Premier League teams. He loves the club, and he is our club. He's a club legend. I agree. Absolutely spot on, Carl. You are not wrong there. I just want to mention, before we get into the live comments, actually, ordered this case from a customised shop. I actually tweeted it out and put it on Instagram as to whether anybody would be interested in doing a little bit of a raffle for one. It's a phone case. I think you can do them on pretty much any phone, but I wanted to know if anybody liked it. It's nice and slick on the sides, really good colour, really good quality. You can see there that it's good quality. Got the logo on. just thought I'd show everyone and ask everybody if you liked it. Like I said, I put a tweet out. You could probably search back. It was yesterday morning, and asked if anybody would be interested in doing a little bit of a raffle, maybe for one. We'll put some money to Everton in the community as well from that. So if you're interested, let me know in the comment section down below, and we'll look into that. But yeah, just thought I'd showcase it because I think it's absolutely boss. Adam says, join late Cam, Baines an Everton legend? He is to me, 100% an Everton legend. Cal says Dean's not our best player. Cal says Richarlison's not our best player. Can't really disagree with that, can we? He's absolutely unbelievable. Abigail says, I think Baines is signed, but it's just waiting until after the last game. He wouldn't want it overshowing the last games. Maybe, mate. And again, I wouldn't be absolutely surprised if Leighton Baines has signed a new contract. I really wouldn't. But just the fact that we haven't heard anything yet, for me, is like, just play him in the last game in case he hasn't. Adam says, most important position after central midfield, right back for me, right back. I think we desperately need to bring in a right back, certainly if Jabril Sidibe doesn't sign. Maybe right wing as well, to be perfectly honest with you, but right back I think is probably the most important after two centre midfielders. Jeff says, no favourite player, best left back. Where are we? Hernandez says, guess you gave up on trying to get Beningame on the pitch. It was a good effort. I just don't think, I really just don't think that Carlo Ancelotti fancies him. I don't. I honestly think that Carlo, listen, if Benny Beningame couldn't get in this team when Tom Davies and Gylfi Sigurdsson were putting in the performances that they were against, your Aston Villas and your Wolves, then he's never going to get in the team, is he? Maybe Carlo Ancelotti has just looked at him insane and thought, you're not good enough, you're not ready. Maybe that's just the case. But again, I don't see the point of putting him in a predicted starting 11 when I honestly cannot see him playing, in this game. I really can't. Carl says, I'm gutted that Niasse left without watching him at Goodison. Cal also show the poor signings by Brandon Silva really that our 18-year-old centre-back is already a starter and Gordon is young and starts as well. It does, again, I understand that, but Brand's brought in Brandwaite, so, fans will give Brands a lot of stick for certain players that have been brought in and the fact that they haven't been able to, quite settle down in the way that we want to. But Brand's brought in Brandwaite, who again we're all praising at the moment, so you'd have to give him praise for that. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, please do hit that like button. It means a massive amount to me. And says the transfer window might just give me a headache with all of the players we are linked with. I guess if any player in the world wants a transfer, just have your agent put the Everton story out of interest. Yeah, we're going to be doing loads of transfer content over the next couple of weeks or so. So obviously we'll have the instant match reaction in the game review. We'll have the instant match reaction and the player ratings on Sunday straight after the game. We'll have the game review on Monday, and then we're going to have an end of season review straight into it, no messing about. It's going to be split into two parts over two live streams. The first one is going to be the first game of the season until Marco Silva's sacking. That'll be next Wednesday, and then next Friday we're going to do from Duncan Ferguson taking charge through obviously Carlo Ancelotti taking charge, and then to the last game of the season. So next Wednesday and Friday we'll have a full review. Hopefully we'll be joined by Cornet for that as well to talk about the entire season. Like I said, it'll be split over two live streams because it's going to be quite a big obviously review because we have to go through the entire season. And then after that we're going to be the Talking Rubbish transfer show will be returning. We'll have a lot more content, a lot of transfer content as well, so don't go anywhere. We'll still be uploading at least 3 videos / live streams a week, so even though the season is ending, there'll still be a load to talk about and there'll still be a load of content. So if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. It means a massive amount to me. Get the video shared, get the live stream shared. Let's get as many people in here as possible. If you're enjoying, please do hit the like button as well. Carl says, if Kenny Tete cost 4.5 million, I'd take him. So would I, mate. So would I. He is 22, I believe, Jeff. Carl says, players like James Rodriguez would just perform like Gylfi. You need the box-to-box and a 4-4-2 with legs. You do. You need a younger player. I've said this for a couple of weeks now. You need a younger player who is, just starting his career and is ready to fight and is ready to improve and wants to get to that next level, not players that have been there that are on the way down. Mac and Cheese has unpopular opinion maybe, but I love Walcott. The lad's his hardest, but he just doesn't have it in him anymore because of the constant injuries. I like him as well. I do. I've got nothing massive against the old Walcott. Again, we brought him in knowing full well that he's not got the consistency that's ideal. He'll always give it 110%. He'll always run down there. He's our most direct winger. He hasn't got the best final ball, but he's our most direct winger, and at the moment, that's probably all we need. Kenny Tete is 25 in October. Michael says, worried about the kit. Apparently the badge is peeling off, mate. Hope they sort it. Yeah, I've seen some people saying that the quality of the kit isn't quite what it should be, which is fair enough. Again, it was the same with Umbro last season. Maybe it's just a few poor kits. Mine have been okay for now, but I haven't worn them an awful lot, I can't say. But yeah, hopefully, Hummel and Everton do sort that out, because that isn't good enough. Gavin says, interesting formation you've gone with. I'd like to see a Wobie tied through the middle. Well, he is through the middle. It's a 4-2-3-1. It's just I put a Wobie sort of in the middle of what looks like a 5 on a dice, because there's not enough room really on my digital pitch to move them about. So I've gone with a 4-2-3-1 just to clarify. Abigail says, I take Romero, put him in as number 1. Romero, in his last year of his contract, he'd want out if he doesn't get more chances, and they'll make Henderson number 2. The Leon keeper is up for sale. I'd take him as well. Carl says, let this sink in. Kingsley Coleman hasn't went a season without winning a league. Jesus Christ, that's a mad stat, isn't it? Gavin says, Sigurdsson has to go. Sheffield United game hopefully showed other clubs he still has something to offer as a number 10, potentially, maybe that's what Carlo was looking for, to maybe showcase these players in that formation to ultimately sell them in the summer. Abigail says, if Richie spoke more English, I'd make him captain. I'd go with David. But listen, he's learning, and again, he's a young player coming from South America. We can't expect him to turn up and be like, yes, lad, what's happening? Any fish and chips there. It takes time. If I went over to Brazil, it'd take me an awful lot longer to learn their language than it would for Richie to learn English. But he speaks a lot more than he did when he first come in, which is fantastic, and he's learning, which is fantastic as well. Carl says, what about Jetro Willems, a left back, left wing back. He's been great for Newcastle until his injury. He's only 6 million bargain for backup, potentially. Gavin says, David Brooks, again, potentially, on a free, of course. Sorry, not on a free, it's Ryan Fraser on a free. Again, I'm not too keen on players coming from Bournemouth just because of how poor they've been this season, but maybe. Carlos Pereira has been a player for 10 years plus and has only scored like 20 goals. No. Sarah's had one good game. Jeff says David Brooks turned us down, didn't he, a few years back? I think he did. I think you're right. Sport says, would you play Ellis Sims tomorrow? On Sunday, I assume you mean. I wouldn't start him. I'd bring him on. By all means, listen, if we're comfortably winning on 60 minutes, bring him on. Give him 10, 20, 15 minutes, whatever. Let him have a run around. Let's see what he can do. Cal says, bring back the FIFA videos. Interesting you should say that. We've got something in the works. I'm not going to mention too much about it yet, but we have got something in the works. Jeff says Sims is not ready. Sport says bring a FIFA stream. I'd have to set everything up for a FIFA stream, but maybe in the future. Hernandez says neither am most starts, to be fair though, Jeff. Sorry, that was Wormy. Hernandez says thanks for helping us all get through the season, Cam. All your content has been incredible. Thank you very much. Listen, again, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thanks to every single person that's watched, subscribed, liked, got involved with any sort of video, live stream, whatever it may be this season. Again, the support. I think we started the season with less than 1,000 subscribers, and to think that, we've hit 2,000 subscribers just before the end of it is absolutely mind-blowing. So I want to say a massive, massive thank you for all of the support throughout the entirety of this season. It means an absolute massive amount to me. Like I said, the content is only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better. We've got loads coming in the future. Hopefully a podcast coming at some point in the future as well. Obviously we'll have the review and the instant match reaction and stuff to the Bournemouth game, and then we've got loads to talk about in the pre-season. Loads of transfer talk about Carlo Ancelotti's preferred formation next season, how we could line up. Loads of videos coming, so if you haven't already, please do subscribe. If you have subscribed, massive thank you. Stay subscribed because there's got loads coming, and like I said, a big thanks to all of the support for the entirety of the 2019-20 season, even though it's been a bit of a mad one. Jeff says agreed, Cam Carlo really does inspire confidence. He does. Gavin says I don't think we put an actual bid in for Brooks. He or Buendia could be options rather than the high profile right wingers like Under or Lozano. Personally, I do hope we get one of the latter. Me too. Lavid says thanks for your support. Thank you very much, Lavid. Faye says yeah, it's nice. Carl says Gam Buendia is better than Under and Lozano. Jeff says it's nice that, Cam. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. It's lovely. The quality is really, really good as well. And I just love it. So let me know if anybody would be interested maybe in those. Women says I think Lozano's worth the chance on loan to buy maybe. I don't know whether they'd let us have him on a loan to buy, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. Cal says, under is awful and Lozano is shocking. The Blue Boys Network, Mike, what's happening, mate? He says, up the Mighty Blues. Thank you very much. Gavin says, I agree, Bendir is amazing. I think the problem is that he doesn't score enough goals, maybe with better players, though, potentially. Gavin says, under and Lozano are more direct. I think it's Mike. Jeff says, don't really want to sign in old players. We should just keep buying them young and build a side. Spot on, I agree 100%. Robbo EFC says, Kenny done well at Schalke. Think they will use him to free up funds for other positions. Potentially, mate. I think, you know, again, Carlo Ancelotti and Marcel Brands have both spoken about how they've been watching John Joe Kenny recently and watching his development and seeing how he has done at Schalke and whether he could potentially fit in next season. Cass is a dream of Alan St. Maximum. He's a good player. I don't know whether he fits into our team, but he's a good player. Sport Channel says, watch him from the beginning now. Thank you very much, mate. Robo says, speak slow, mate. There's no rush. I just speak dead quick for some reason. I just have a natural fast voice. Whammy says, you might want to see someone about that girl. Lavit says, dare I say it, but if all else fails, would you sign Danny Ings? It's a tough one. The negatives are his age and the fact that he played for Liverpool. The positives are he's a fantastic goal scorer. He's had an unbelievable season and he also scores against Everton. So if we signed him, even if we signed him purely for the fact that he wouldn't be able to score against Everton, that would be a positive. I don't think he fits the Marcel Brands type of player, to be honest with you. I think he's had a fantastic season. It'll be interesting to see how he does next season and whether this was sort of a one-off, you know, unbelievable season and see how he does next season. But there's no doubt in his quality this season. Would I sign him? I don't think we will sign him, and I probably wouldn't because I don't think we should be looking at a striker at the moment. I just don't think that's a priority whatsoever. Carl says I meant for him to play for us, Whammy lol. Mike says, Mike, there you go. Mike is doing a watch-along for the Bournemouth game, I believe, so check that out. Abigail said, would you take Cantwell? I think Benny, Broadhead and Connolly, John Joe and Dahl, Balassi, Sigurdsson, Davis, I hope Delph, Bernard will all go in the next windows, maybe. Will they take Todd Cantwell? I think Todd Cantwell is a dream for Everton fans to bring in and then have a go at when he doesn't do what we exactly want him to do. He's a good player. But for the money that they'd want for him, I'm not 100% convinced yet. Mike says, Mighty Blues versus the Blue Boys. There you go. Lavit says, I think Ings would in fact clean up alongside Richarlison, but he wouldn't be on my priority list. Me too, mate, me too. Carl says, Cantwell would be incredible in our team. Fair enough. Abigail says, I wasn't criticising Richie, it was just an observation. He hasn't come on. No, you spot. I know you were. I wasn't having a go at you. I know you weren't criticising him. But yeah, again, I agree, spot on. FGA says, no, Tour won't be in the team, otherwise all good. Try Bernard there again. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Bernard there, see what he can do in that sort of number 10 midfield position. Again, pretty similar to Iwobi in that way. Jeff says, Iwobi, Gylfi, Bernard, Gordon all prefer to play as a 10 and we are planning on a 4-4-2. Some will have to go. I actually agree. Blue Boys Network says, always watch-alongs. There you go. Anandez says, also, can I just say thank you for not ever talking about the red shite on all social media. Every Everton page is posting loads of stuff about it. Yeah, again, I've got a lot of opinions on what's happened over the last few weeks or so, and certainly with the live build and stuff, but this isn't a channel to talk about them. I'll only ever mention them when talking about the Merseyside derby or a preview or a review, whatever. Again, we're here to talk about Everton and we're here to focus completely on Everton, so no worries for that. Lewis says, hey Blue Boys, and he needs to start Moise Keane. I agree. Lavit says, my only concerns about financial fair play. What are your thoughts of Everton? If this may hinder Everton making signings, I think we just need to sell, mate. I think we just need to sell the players that are dead wood, sell the players that have got no future, sell the players that don't quite fit into the system, and then we should be okay with financial fair play. Lee says, yes, Cam just jumped on, mate. Thank you very much, Lee. Unfortunately, we'll be finishing up in a second, but thank you very much. Carl says, the thing is, Richie and DCL thrive with each other. If he took DCL out, would Richie dip the same way round? Maybe in the long run, but I think for one game, and to give Moise Keane his opportunity, I don't think it'll matter that much. FJ says, Bernard has a footballing brain, fair enough. And Whammy says, FFP is nonsense. I agree, it is an absolute nonsense. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button. It means a massive, massive amount to me. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Share the live stream on social media. Let's try and get as many people watching. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. It means a massive amount to me for everybody getting involved. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Final game preview of the season then. Let's hope that Everton can go out on a win. and obviously take some positivity and take some momentum into the pre-season, into a pre-season which is going to be very quick, very fast, in there straight away. And then, you know, listen, hopefully we can start next season positively and you know, have a really good transfer window. If you've enjoyed the live stream, please do hit that like button like I mentioned. FGA says 25 million is a joke, but we always get our pants pulled down. We do. Where are we? Where have we gone? Cal says Bernard lost the ball and made the most missed passes this season, has he? FJ says, well, since Moyes left. William says, take care, guys. Thank you very much. You too. Jeff says, FFP is for teams competing in European competitions. We aren't. It's not relevant. There you go. Cal says, take care, Cam, you're the legend. Thank you very much. Mike says, just one last thing. Up the fucking toffee. Spot on. Jeff says, cheers, Cam. Laters, everyone. Thank you very much. And Eugene says, see about the toffees and 3 points this Sunday. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like I said, we'll be back with the instant match reaction and player ratings directly after the game on Sunday. And then we'll have the live game review on Monday. And then, of course, we'll jump into the season review, talking about the entire season as a whole. And then we've got loads of content coming. Big thanks for watching once again. A massive thanks for all of the support throughout this season. It's not over yet. Still one last hurdle. Still one game to go through. Let's hope Everton can get the 3 points. Come on, you Blues. Up the toffees. Carlo Fantastico. Come on. Women says it doesn't work out at all except for big teams. There you go. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.